I feel so excited getting to do this. What an honor and privilege. All these beautiful smiling faces down at me, or up at me. So this morning, I'm actually going to offer a little game. Yes, a little game. And so the little game is going to be about listening with your whole body. So our ears will listen, but when we do whole body listening, we stay very still. And when we're done with everything, I'm going to be watching who listened with their whole body. And I've got a really beautiful surprise for you. All right? Yes. So today we're going to hear a story about a wise young girl. And this wise young girl, her name is Selimai Wei. Long, long ago in the country of China, lived a young woman of the Muslim Hui people whose name was Salimai. And she was really, really wise. When other children would scrape their knees, Salimai would arrive to assist them, even if they were not her own children. She may have been poor and unschooled, but she had a wise and deep heart. And she was a farm girl, so she really didn't get to go to school. One time, her father-in-law, he was a carpenter named Ali, he was ordered by the emperor to make some repairs in his palace. And fearful of doing less than his best for the emperor, Ali really pushed himself. And so he worked day and night, day and night, day and night. He worked day and night. And sometimes he didn't go to sleep. That's how hard he was working for the emperor. So he was dizzy with fatigue and his hands were shaking. And in a moment of carelessness, Ali tipped over the emperor's favorite vase in the great hall. Oh my goodness, he broke a vase. What is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? So the emperor heard the story. The emperor heard the story, and he heard that the vase got broken, and he said, "Bring this carpenter to me at once." And everybody was really scared because you don't say no to the emperor, right? You don't say no to him. You have to do what he says. So this poor carpenter was handcuffed and escorted by 3 guards. He was shaking and trembling. He was like so scared. And the emperor drew his sword. He drew his sword over a vase. So as the sword came over Ali's head, Ali spoke up and said, "Forgive me, worship. I did not mean to break your vase. I promise I'll pay for it." So the emperor lowered his sword for a moment. And he said in a very condescending, mean voice, "A poor old Hui like yourself could never replace such a treasure. Do not jest with me. Have mercy on me," Ali begged. "I will pay." So emperor, because he's emperor, decided he was going to show some mercy. And he put his sword away. And he said, "I'm going to give you 10 days to find me 4 things. 4 things. Can you show me active listening? 4 things with your fingers? Oh my gosh, you're such good listeners." And he said, "The first thing you must get me is something more black than the bottom of a pan. The second thing you must find me is something clearer than a mirror." Ali was staring at the floor, really scared, because what does this mean? And the emperor said, "Third thing, something stronger than steel. And lastly, the 4th thing, something as vast as the sea." How can a carpenter find these things? How can he? Well, I know you know. but we're going to tell the story. So the emperor said, if you fail at any of these, I'm going to chop off your head myself. And he smirked. Wow. So Ali, at that moment, he had so much despair. He felt stricken and sad, and he wondered, how can I even do these tasks? Does the emperor simply wish to torture me for the last 10 days of my life? So he was so sick with dread. He hung his head, he turned away, and he headed home. Could you eat and sleep if somebody said they're going to cut off your head? No, I can't sleep. No, I couldn't even sleep. So, guess who comes into the picture? Guess who comes into the picture? Salimai. And she was very wise, and she said, what's troubling you? And he said, well, I have to get 4 things for the emperor or they're going to cut my head off. And he said, these are the things that I need to find. And he told her what they were. And so Salimar, being the wise person that she was, she said, this isn't a problem. Father, don't worry. I will have all these things when the emperor comes, and I'll present them myself. So she was being an ally. That's called being an ally. When you know somebody is in trouble and you want to help them, and you try to find a quick solution to help them. Yes, so active listening. So what ended up happening was, when the emperor knocked on their door, knock, 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 and he comes in, surrounded by troops, he goes, Old Hui, come forward and give me those 4 things that you owe me. So Salimai came by her father-in-law's side. They bowed humbly, because you need to show reverence to an emperor. And then she stepped forward. Girl power. She stepped forward. And she said, Your Majesty, the 4 things that you requested are ready to be presented. Please name them one by one. And he said, with a smirk, the first thing I must have is that which is more black than the bottom of a pan. He touched his sword and he smiled and his teeth glinted, if you can picture that. And she said, Your Majesty, those can be found at the bottomless, greedy heart. Ouch. The emperor hid his surprise, because he thought, this girl can't be so smart. She's just a farm girl. Well, the next thing you must present is something more clear than a mirror. Do you have that? And she smiled and said, Yes, knowledge offers a clarity greater than any mirror. Now the emperor's face is dumbstruck. Well, he stammered, do you have something stronger than steel to give me? Love. Love. Love is the strongest thing in the world. So now he knew that she was tricking him, and she was actually really smart. Girl power. That the emperor stood speechless. He glanced at Salimai, stood taller, and he cleared his throat, and he said, Well, what do you have that could possibly be as vast as the sea? And he chuckled loud. And she said, A virtuous heart is as vast as the sea, Your Majesty. And she lowered her head, and she smiled, and she said nothing more, because she was wise. So flustered and humbled, the emperor sputtered, It's time to leave, old Hui. You are hereby pardoned. He turned to his troops and shouted, March! So as the emperor of China distanced himself, Salimai held her father-in-law's hand, and together she and Ali bowed in relief and in gratitude to Allah. Allah is the name of God in their religion. And because of Salimai's wise heart, Ali and her father-in-law could now live a very long life. The end. Active listening, 4 things, very good. And now you all are going to do something very beautiful for this beloved congregation.